mean, like, right now? Ash noted.
I'm going to go find some dead roses.
Should I come with you?
No. Stay here. Stay near Prude. Protect her and her mother if it comes to that.
Do you think she'll have told the king about me?
I don't really know what she's going to do right now.
I'll go find her then.
The two parted. Ash passed the rear entrance to the courtroom on her way to the garden, idly clenching her hand, wishing for a weapon.
Ash?
Ash nearly hit the brickwork of the ceiling she kept. Ash nearly hit the brickwork of the ceiling. She leaped so high.
It is you! Oh, I thought they said you were dead or something. Eaten by gray mages. You look well, considering what you've been through.
I'm tougher than I look, I suppose.
Aku beamed a shining grin as she rushed forward to embrace her. She was only a few years older than Ash, but she had been the court mage of the kingdom since Ash's 7th year. Aku had been an early graduate, performing the pairing ritual nearly 7 years early, and again 6 years early. The 2 attempts had been enough for her, comfortable adopting the title of head mage. She had found employment as a court mage in Celeste.
Oh, it is good to see you.
You too, though I'm surprised to see you here still. Didn't you have another contract?
Aku's eyes twitched.
Well, I couldn't very well leave the kingdom without a mage while you and Prude were made to stay at the mountain. Not after my years of service here. But now you're all here. 5 full mages.
Aku's eyes twitched again.
It's wonderful.
Ah, yes.
It's great. I mean, now I can move on to other things. Plenty of places looking for hedge mages. Just...
Aku shuddered violently as she took in a deep breath.
oh, just so many.
What about the position you had lined up?
Oh, yes. The position I had lined up.
Aku's eyes fluttered and she gave a wide grin.
Let's just say that I didn't stay here only because of years of dedication.
Aku took a deep breath.
Maybe I'll go back to the mountain for a bit. I might be able to get a temporary position teaching. Heck, I might even participate in the next pairing ritual. You never know, right?
Yeah.
Ash looked to the mark on the back of her hand.
You really don't.
Well, I'm gonna go get lunch. You take care, Ash.
You too, Aku.
Where are you heading, Ash?
Ash turned sharply to meet the gaze of a tiny blonde girl who beamed at her with an enormous grin.
Ashley!
Goddess be praised. You're alive. When Prude told me what happened...
The two embraced.
You looked in a rush. Where are you going?
The gardens. I need to be ready for tonight.
Oh, Goddess be praised. Don't tell me that there are more of those creatures we found.
Yes, I'm sure there are. I have no idea why they're here or what they are planning, but I have to stop it.
What do you need from the garden?
Dead roses.
For once, something magical I can help with.
Huh?
I actually just changed out the flowers in the courtroom. Plenty of dead roses there.
Perfect. Thank you, Ashley. Could I convince you to have them brought to my room?
Of course.
In that case, I need to go prepare some things for the spell. Thank you again.
Anything a lowly servant like me can do to help, but will this be enough to protect us from the attack?
I don't know, but if nothing else, we'll be ready to fight.
Goddess, it's good to see you safe.
You too, Ashley.
They hugged once more before parting. Returning to her room, Ash felt resolve flare inside her chest. The fear was gone. She knew what had to be done. She wouldn't cower in fear no more. They would face her on familiar ground. She had allies. She had friends. She had magic.
Prude, could you pass me the cheese?
Sure.
Do you mind if I finish off the pastries?
Go ahead. I've had my fill of sweets.
Mind if we split it?
Mm-hmm.
Ashley nodded and cut the last jam tart in half, handing one half to Belinda. Ash let out a long sigh as she looked around her room. Dozen of vases filled to bursting with black petal roses.
Don't let it get you down, Ash. Looks like a right proper necromancer's room now.
And if we are attacked, I'll have no want of armaments.
And it gave you lots of practice with your spell, right?
All were reasonable points, but somehow the distinct lack of an opportunity to show her iron resolve had doused Ash's burning temper. No, there was no somehow about it. This was utterly inhumanity. Why hadn't they attacked? They had to be some sort of explanation for the cult's behavior. Not to mention, they had turned up absolutely nothing on this third party. The last 3 nights had been uneventful. The knight had advised that they take a day off to relax. And here they were, relaxing after 3 days of quiet. Efnot smeared butter on a slide of toast and laughed at a joke Ashley had made. Ash had missed it, lost in her thoughts. Prude and Hector were as entangled as they had been before their fight. Time heals all wounds, and apparently when a pair has 2 pools of light to pull from, wounds heal quickly. Hector hadn't shared his secret with the rest of the group, but they had a sense the tension even as it has been dissolved. There was their first morning eating as a group again, their number having grown with an addition of Ashley.
So what do you mighty mages have planned for today?
I'm supposed to appear in court with Prudence. We are the acting court mages today.
Me and Elfnot have been doing that the last few days. It's painfully boring.
I've had worse duties.
Well, I didn't mean it was actually that bad, but after the events and training we've had over the last few months, it seems...
Mundane.
Yes, exactly.
I'm glad I'm not the only one in shock over how calm it's been.
I could always start training you again, Belinda. You've got plenty of room to learn.
We'll think about it.
I prefer the quiet.
I have to disagree. I would rather have this whole thing over and done with. It is quiet, but it is the quiet before the storm.
Ash nodded. She agreed, and the group seemed to chewed in thought for a minute.
We need to find a Grey Mage. It's the only way to find out what's going on.
How exactly do you propose we do that?
Simple. We get the Rod of Finding.
And how exactly are we planning to have the heads agree to that?
A moment of silence fell.
Actually, I have an idea. We have your mother request their presence for assistance with a delicate matter. We have her tell them that she believes she has found a Grey Mage, but wants to verify without having to cut them open. They come, and when they use the staff, we get them to identify any other Grey Mages in the city.
We won't be able to convince them to search the city unless we can prove a Grey Mage is present. In the state of decay the Grey Mage we found...
Don't worry, we'll have a Grey Mage.
Prude looked confused for a moment, and then she shook her head, eyes as wide as they were able to open.
Ash, no!
It's the best solution.
What exactly is the best solution?
I too am behind a bit on this conversation.
Ash, they won't just let him go. If they find out what he is, then at the very least, they'll take him captive.
No, she's right. It's the best plan we have so far.
Who?
I suppose now is as good a time as any.
Straightening his back and with an almost mocking formality, Hector explained.
I am a Grey Mage.
The silence was deafening.
What? Like the fellow what was pinned to the wall?
Yes.
Nah. She was all swollen and held together by needle and thread. You look
Ashley gestured vaguely.
healthy.
Well, thank you, I think.
So, I'm guessing that he has some sort of tragic backstory behind his greyness. Lest you two would be all in a bit more of a panic.
Oh, like maybe he and his old lover were dying, and she gave him her heart so he could go on living.
I think he's a tad too young for that. Plus, how desperate he was to get paired. You don't act like that if you have love lingering in you.
Maybe one of his parents? No, he wouldn't have been an orphan. I remember when he first arrived. Oh, both parents!
Both parents? Why both?
Because he was born without magic, duh!
Hector's face betrayed shock as Belinda turned to him. Efna looked rather stricken as well.
Yes, it was. Both of my parents, actually.
Oh, was I right?
In a sense. They gave up their lives to make a weapon.
Hector stared passively forward, displaying no emotion. His silence spoke well enough that the comment had disquieted him.
It's decided then. Prude, have your mother send the letter. I am sure they'll arrive within the month, even if it's only for courtesy after having thrown us out. It's decided then. Once we have the location of a Grey Mage, Elfnod, Belinda, and I will track it down and spy out some information. Prude will stay with Hector. If it comes to it, we'll aid in your escape, Hector.
No one said a word. Everyone simply nodded. They followed her commands as natural as soldiers their general. The passion, the burning resolve returned to Ash's chest.
Soon, we'll have some answers.
Ash had trouble putting into words. there really wasn't much to say.
This is brutal.
You can say that again.
This is brutal.
She already said that.
But you said.
Is it another Grey Mage?
Hector emerged from the entrails.
Yep, definitely a gray mage.
That brings the total of confirmed kills from this assassin to 3.
Given that prior to now there was no greater threat than a Grey Mage, it's a bit frightening to think that there's another force out there hunting them.
The real question is, are they on our side? Or do they have their own agenda?
Maybe it's Ash's pair.
Prue shot Belinda a withering glare. Hey, MIB. Guess who was there right behind? Ash needs some boom boom.
What? I'm just saying, it could be good. Something stronger than a Grey Mage on our side.
We keep assuming that this assassin is stronger than a gray mage. Given how little we know of this individual's magic, it may simply be more a matter of rock versus scissors. I'm just posing hypotheses. I don't want to accept that there's a force out there that's more dangerous than the power a gray mage can wield.
You just don't want to admit that Ash is stronger than you.
Belinda looked sideways at Ash, smirking.
No, it's not that. I'm just scared to imagine something so powerful. There should be balance.
Hector turned to a pair of guards who had been on standby.
Contact the Medicians. We'll leave it to them to clean up the bodies.
Ash was a bit shocked to see Hector taking to command so easily. She turned to Prude, examining her expression, trying to see if any of the same surprise could be found on her surprise. I mean, what the fuck? My brain. Could be found on her face. Her face was passive. She looked lost in thought. Had Prude expected Hector to take command? Ash couldn't help but wonder if the two had discussed who would assume the mantle of king, assuming they married. It felt wrong to Ash to think that Hector would take the title away from Prude. Trying to suppress the feeling, she gave the corpse one last look. Just like the others, nailed to the wall like an insect by distorted metal. What kind of power could do something like that? That night, Ash woke up with a start. She felt a violence in her belly, a demanding hunger. I don't fucking know. I'll save. The fuck? Stop eating tape. This wasn't going to wait till morning. With a prolonged groan, Ash flung herself out of bed. One thing people don't often tell you about castles is exactly how cold they get at night. Ash's feet felt like ice as she padded away swiftly across the stone. As she neared the kitchen, she was surprised to find it still alight, and sound coming from within.
Oh, come on, there must be something left over. I can't believe they completely cleaned it out already.
Was the cook looking for a midnight snack too? Ash peered around the corner and sure enough found the cook rummaging through cabinets and drawers looking for something.
Good to see I'm not the only one who gets midnight cravings.
The cook just nearly struck the ceiling with a leap of surprise.
Oh, excuse me. I did not think anyone else was up. I was looking for some leftovers. I am a bit peckish.
Couldn't you just cook something fresh?
Ah, but who wants to fire up the oven and get everything out? I was hoping to just find some leftovers.
You could always just make some pasta and cheese, like you used to make for me and Prude in the middle of the night.
Yes, but I don't want to go through that effort for just myself.
The cook seemed to regret his words even as he said them. I'm sorry, my cat just trying to attack this fucking box. Ash felt a little guilt in pressuring him when he was not as much in the mood to cook, but he had once told her to wake him up at any hour if she was hungry. Surely whatever reluctance possessed him now would not be enough to dissuade him from his promise.
You can cook for the two of us. I can help.
Oh, yes, of course.
The cook looked near to panic.
I'll start boiling the water and find some dried pasta. You should start on the sauce.
Of course, of course.
Ash pulled out a larger pot, filled it with water, and set it over the stove. Opening the stove's belly, she found embers still flaring away. The cook never let the fire die. She fed it 2 logs and dispersed a glance as she walked towards the storage closet. He seemed intent as he mixed something in a pot. Ash was glad to see him focus, and he left to cook. For the next video, out of here.